Welcome to Cory's Stories. Are you ready to meditate with Cory? Are you ready to meditate with Cory? Make sure that you're in your bed, you're comfortable, snug and warm. That way you can relax your body and let go of your busy day. It was raining really hard outside. Jack likes the rain, but after a while it gets kinda boring. What do you do with yourself when you can't go outside and play? And the sound of the rain is really cool and all, but after a while, you get so you don't even notice how cool it is anymore. It's just there in the background. Jack was bored. He decided to have a bath. His mum had let him have some of those candles that are battery operated. He decided he was going to have a very relaxing bubble bath. It would be nice and warm and cozy with his candles. He got some of those bath bombs for Christmas. He was going to drop one of those in it so it was bright pink. There was loads and loads of bubbles. And of course he had his magical paints. He was laid in the bath, all warm and snuggly and cozy, thinking about what he could paint. Jack was quite a nervous type. Some things he was really brave about, but most things, not so much. One thing that Jack really wanted to do was to test himself and go on a big, giant roller coaster. One of those with the really scary ups and downs and twists and turns and around and loops, the ones where you're hanging upside down and you go really fast. That, to him, was the most scariest. He decided that maybe, because when he paints something on the side of the bathtub, it normally lifts off the bathtub and actually comes to real life for a few moments, that maybe he could draw a roller coaster. He could paint a really big one. He could paint it from the part where the car sits at the top of the hill and it just pauses there for a few seconds and then it waits and makes you super nervous until eventually it falls deep down at 10 billion miles an hour. That was it. He was going to paint that. And maybe he could get a feeling for being on a roller coaster, even though he wasn't actually on a roller coaster in real life. It was a good step. Jack found his silver paint. He also used bits of black, and he painted what looked like the frame of a roller coaster. Then, in bright red, he painted a car on top. And then he painted another car and another car and another car, as if it was like a train of cars. And then Jack painted as good as he possibly could himself in the front car. He was waving his arms in the air. Jack stepped back and looked at the final product. The cars, the roller coaster, and the painted Jack seemed to pull away from the wall and hover there, real as it could possibly be, And then Jack decided to climb into the car. What if I climb in the car? Instead of just painting me in the car, I'm going to climb in the car. It seemed to be hovering there, calling him, "Come on, Jack, get in. Let's go for a ride." Jack climbed into the cart. He sat there. It made that roller coaster sound, chicka, 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 as if it was creaking and the metal was cracking and banging in different places, and it was all scary. And he looked behind him, and every car was full of different kids and people with their hands in the air, screaming, "Come on, let's go!" Jack was getting super pumped. And he was there, right there, paused at the top before you go down that super, super scary part. Right there, paused at the top, taking a big, deep breath, taking as deep of a breath as he possibly could, thinking, "Oh gosh, come on, when is this going to happen? Come on." Because he knew that normally his paintings didn't last that long. There has been 1 or 2 occasions where his paintings actually did stay real for quite some time. But was this one of those times? Jack hadn't figured out any kind of algorithm. He didn't know when his paintings were going to last for 2 or 3 seconds, or 2 or 3 minutes, or 2 or 3 hours. He'd got no clue at this point. It was just like by chance. So he was sat there, holding his breath, arms up in the air, listening to everyone scream. "Come on," he thought to himself. "Come on, I'm finally brave enough to do this. Let's go before time runs out, before this just falls into the bathtub and it's all a bunch of paints around me, and that's the end of that." The cars on the roller coaster tracks started to make more sounds as if they were moving forward. Creaking and clanking and banging and making all of those creaky, cranky, bangy noises that a roller coaster makes, chugging along at the top, and then it went down. The speed pulled Jack's cheeks back. They were wobbling in the wind, which made him laugh, and when he laughed, his mouth opened and it wobbled even more. He felt like Gromit. You know, that dog in Wallace and Gromit, all teeth and big smiles. He was laughing so hard that he forgot to be scared. He forgot he was going down the roller coaster. He forgot until he came back into his body really quick, and all he could hear was screams, laughing and screaming, and people screaming at the top of their lungs. And then he was like, "Oh gosh, I'm actually doing it." And then the fear hit. "Oh, this is awful," he thought to himself. "Oh, this is really dreadful. Oh my gosh, this is like the worst thing ever." His stomach was in his mouth. He felt like he was going to vomit. He felt like he could probably poop himself. He was so scared. This is not fun at all. This is horrible. He thought about what he'd had for breakfast. "Oh no, I'm gonna vomit up my toast," he thought. And then he thought about what he had for lunch. Oh no, there goes the cheese sandwich. Oh no. And then he thought about everything that he didn't like, that made him feel sick. And he thought, why am I thinking about sloppy eggs? You know, when they're not quite cooked and they're all like snotty looking on top. All these things, crazy things, were going through Jack's mind as he was quickly, fast, so fast going down this hill. And this hill seemed to be going on and on and on and on. It was like as big as Everest, he thought. He got no clue how big Everest was, but this hill on this roller coaster was just as big. And then all of a sudden, the paints fell around him and collapsed, and Jack splashed back into the bathtub. He laid there surrounded with dirty-looking bath water, Silver, red, and grey, and black, all mixed together. Made of soupy, nasty, coloured bathwater. He hurt his bum when he landed. He gave it a rub and said, "Ow!" And then he realised Jack had just been on his first roller coaster. Jack may have possibly been on the most scariest roller coaster in the world because he painted it. And it was so awesome and so deep as Everest. For sure. Definitely. If anyone was going to ask, yeah, it was like the biggest roller coaster in the world. Even though the roller coaster was only as big as what he could draw on the side of his bathtub. But that didn't matter. Because when it turned into a real-life roller coaster, it was real alright. And Jack was sat in it alright. And he could feel the seat on the car, on his tush. It was so real. He felt the seatbelts around his shoulders. It was so real. He heard the screams of all the other kids and his own. It was so real. Everything about it was so real. But the problem was, how was Jack ever going to brag about it? He couldn't. He couldn't go to school the next day and say, yeah, I love roller coasters. Yeah, I go on them all the time. Yeah, I once went on the biggest roller coaster in the entire world. Yeah, trust me. The actual dip, oh my gosh, it's as deep as Everest. Yeah, I know, I'm awesome. I'm so cool. I know you wouldn't dare go on it. I definitely was brave. I was so brave. How is he supposed to do that? How can he do that with his friends? When he just went on a magical roller coaster ride that lasted maybe only a couple of minutes. It wasn't in a well-known amusement park. It wasn't ever featured on TV. It wasn't ever gonna be anything that was real. Jack felt a bit sad about that. And then he had a good idea. He painted a bowl with 3 scoops of strawberry ice cream in it, and it came to life, lifted off his bathroom wall. There was a spoon in the bowl, all ready for him to have a little nibble of ice cream. He had a couple of mouthfuls, and then his painting quickly, unfortunately, dissolved and fell into the tub. There goes that then, he thought to himself. The tub water was a pretty gross colour, and it was getting a bit cold. Jack decided to get out of the bathtub. He got dried, put on his sweats, and went to his desk in his bedroom. He took out his drawing pad and his gel colouring pens and decided to draw the best roller coaster ever. The one he'd just been on, but this one was going to be on his paper. This one he was going to be able to keep. He was going to be able to remember it. It was like a keepsake drawing. He drew it even better than he could paint it. And when he'd finished, he got a piece of tape, stuck it on the paper, and stuck it on his wall. What's it matter if he can't tell his friends? He knows he was brave enough to go on that roller coaster. What if he couldn't brag about it? It didn't matter. He knew he was brave. He didn't need to tell everyone else. He didn't need the confirmation from everyone else to tell him that he was brave because he already knew he was brave. So bragging about it would be pointless. Normally, people that brag about things tend to be a little bit insecure about something inside. And they make up grand stories and brag about what they have or what they've done so that they get reassurance. Reassurance that they are good and they are worthy and they're just as good as everyone else. And Jack didn't need to brag because he knew he was brave and it was okay that he couldn't tell anyone. But maybe next time when you're with someone that's bragging a lot about something and they talk a lot about themselves, maybe it's good to remember that that person might need some reassurance that you like them, that you think that they're a good person, or that they're cool or funny or attractive, whatever it is that they're seeking confirmation for. And maybe you can know that and be a good friend and help to ease their insecurities. And then maybe they won't feel like they need to brag so much anymore because you help them. The end.